Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Musings and Music Show. And I'm all smiles here this morning now because my guest, she's smiling away there too. When you're going to get to see this on video, you're going to see her right there in front of me. Where are you coming to us from? We're not going to talk names yet, but where are you coming to us from this morning?
I'm coming all the way from Bradford in the United Kingdom.
Awesome. And for those who know, you know, this is not the first time you're seeing her on a show. When I did the Sika Pride 10th anniversary thing, where all of you came and watched live, that was a live show. She was spot on there. And just to show you, for those of you who are watching, and if you're listening, you're going to get to see it down the road, never mind. I will show you what it is that her major participation on that show was this right here. And I'm going to try to share my screen, see if you can see it. Was this work of art right here? Can you see it?
Yes.
There you go. Beautiful. This is the kind of thing that is a work of art. You don't want to eat it. You don't want to cut it. It just looks like it should sit there permanently and just for us to behold its beauty. So that's a little bit of an introduction of that takes us kind of talks to us about what she does. But now it's time to at least know who we are even talking to. Let me stop the share right here. Come on back. So please, lady, introduce yourself.
My name is Belle Ntuba, or Genevieve Belle Ntuba, and I am from Cameroon, living in the United Kingdom. And Sister EGBE, I've known you since I was a little girl because we used to live in the same quartier, as they say in Yaoundé.
Too broad. We lived in the same building.
Yes.
Where the Grammys people. Yes.
Yes. So I'm so privileged to be here today. And I'm here because I love baking.
Right.
And I've loved baking since I was a child. I'm totally self-taught. Yes. So I'm totally self-taught, and I have been able to get to where I am because of the people who love me, primarily my mom, my sisters, and I've got some extremely good friends who support me. So that's my journey. And I'm sure along the way, people get to know a little bit more. I still work, and I've been building the business slowly over the last maybe 15 years, I would say. Baking for friends and family primarily, and now I bake a little bit outside there, and there are kind of a few things in the pipeline. Yes.
Right. So you've answered the part of how early it started, but you could give us kind of like a journey to how you got to here. Because okay, I knew you as a little young girl. Look at her there now. She looks like she's still as young as ever. So I'm the one that's showing my age. But she went to Sika, so even though you did not meet me in Sika Baptist College, you came in, I think, a year or so or two after I had left.
Yes.
So that school had food and nutrition cookery classes. Were you one of those who we used to call the cookery girls, those who opted to take that at GCE level or not?
Okay, not really, because growing up, I had a natural talent for cooking and baking.
Right.
But I didn't really think you could do anything with it because obviously coming from an African background, the arts at that time was not promoted as much, you know. Fortunately for me though, I had aunties who had done home economics, but you know, it's not something that was rated. You come and most of them were just teachers.
Right.
So just going into that kind of a world was not something that you really thought was viable like it is today. Exactly. So I just did it for the love of it. Right. But strangely enough, I just had this passion to learn. Everywhere I went, if somebody had a cookery book I'd never seen, I sat down and read it like a novel.
Right.
I will cram, you know, people used to cram for exams. I would be cramming recipes and then go home and just do it and practice it. And as I mentioned, my mom, my mom was very supportive. So during the summer holidays, she allowed me to practice to my heart's content.
Right.
Yeah. So going back to your question, when did it all start? I baked my first cake when I was 8 years old.
Oh.
So my mom had a bureau book. So anybody who's in England knows the brand Bureau. So it was a little 4x9 booklet, actually it was a booklet. And I just decided I'm going to do every recipe in that book. And that way I'll learn how to bake, because there was nobody to teach me. So I just started
page by page.
Yeah. There's some things that I left out, which were pork-based things, because I didn't like pork. So anything to do with pork, I left. But do you remember in Cameroon, they used to have those saucissons, the little hot dog like that? So my family was partial to that. So
usually it used to have garlic. Yes. And we lived just a little bit more. We lived in that Ministry Mesa building, is what we're talking about there. So Ministry itself was just downstairs. Ministry was the supermarket. So it wasn't too far to go get something to use for a recipe.
So I used to make them sausage rolls using the saucisson alive. So, you know, I didn't have to touch it that much, and I didn't have to eat it because I knew they liked it. So I used to make it for them that way. So let's go back to my first cake. I made my first cake at age 8. My mom had this brilliant idea that I was supposed to learn how to bake the hard way. So she made me learn the bureau way, which was to start with measuring with spoons, tablespoons.
Right.
So my first cake obviously was a disaster, because, you know, a child at 8, they say leveled tablespoon. I went ahead and I did heaped tablespoons.
You just dip it in the thing and just toss it. You don't level it out.
Exactly. So
that's how you learn, though.
Exactly.
Practice,
she let me do it all by myself.
Yes.
And I put the oven on, put the thing in, and then when it came out, of course, it had a good heaping of oil. so my mom like, bring it over. I took it over. I showed her. She said, it's very oily, isn't it? I said, yes, it is. So she said, do you know what you did wrong? I said, yeah, I'm sure I didn't measure the fat properly. She said, no problem, go and start again. So the next day I went and I did it again. It was less oily. And eventually I got a grip of what a leveled tablespoon was. But, you know, when I tell this story, most people think, oh my goodness, that must have been hard. And I say, no, because the benefits of that training far outweigh the pain I could have felt, you know, without having a mixer like this, because my mom had one.
In my day there was something like a mixer. You got the bowl, you put the butter in there, you put the sugar, and we used to call it creaming, and it tells you to go in the same direction. And you do that till the thing looks, she comes and looks, as I said, it doesn't have the right texture, it doesn't have the right color. You're looking at it and going, what's wrong with this thing? It looks good already. It's like, no, keep going some more. I tell you, you oil the baking pans, you put the whole 9 yards. Thank God for those mothers of ours. I tell you, thank God for them.
Exactly. Yes, because like now I've been to places where they've not had a mixer, they've not had containers. And I just tell them, it's fine. I can make you a cake. And I just get my teaspoons out. I memorize how many teaspoons make a gram for flour, for sugar, for butter. And then I know how many eggs weigh what. And I just make it, and people are like, what? And I tell them, I was well trained, you know, so I was well trained. And then I graduated from the tablespoon to the cooking spoon, like you rightly said, the wooden spoon. We all had mothers, you know, our mothers who had traveled abroad or who bought things from people who came back from abroad had those wooden spoons, really, you know, like the very English wooden spoons.
I see the ones that we had in my mind, and now, no matter what, I still have some. I just have to have them and look at them and just have them. Because they're part of one's childhood growing up. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so we moved from there, and you know, I started using a wooden spoon. And then again, when I started baking, I used to I couldn't afford, when I finished university, I couldn't afford a mixer.
Right.
So I was fine. I had my wooden spoon and off I went. I'll do it, and people like, what? You have to bake that pie? Yeah, I can do that just because I've been trained to do it. And you know, the good thing to us, it didn't seem like there was anything out of the ordinary.
It's now that people, you see, you have to have been born in this age and time to look at that and say, how can I, like now, I cannot imagine you telling a little kid, give them the rotary phone and make them dial all the way around, when now all they need to do is just tap a button.
I know.
But for us, if you brought that to me now and all cell phones disappear and you brought that to me, I'll adjust again because I'm used to that old thing. And I know that you can switch comfortably between the manual thing and the whole mechanical stuff that you have going there. Wow, is that your kitchen? Yeah, you're actually sitting in your kitchen in your home.
I am my kitchen where everything happens. So this is actually my work surface where I do all the rolling, the baking and everything. And behind me is the oven. Yeah, so it's not a big kitchen, but it does amazing things. It
produces wonders. That's looking at it. That's why I even made the remark. So I'm looking at it there. Maybe people don't. Now let me just go ahead then. When I say it produces wonders, you already saw the cake, the sticker pride cake there. That just looks like marble, just a work of art. I need to show people some other things. Let me see if I can share my screen. Guess what I did? I went to your Facebook page.
Okay.
She's Genevieve Belle, B-E-L-L, like Belle in French for beautiful Ntuba on Facebook. I went to that page. Let me see if I can. I think this is it right here, and share my screen. Am I sharing? Do you see your Facebook page?
Yes, I can.
There you go. And I hope everybody else can see. Just look at that. If you're hungry, I'm sorry, I apologize. If you're hungry right now. But this is what you see. I'm going to randomly click on a few things. Look at this one right here. My goodness, this one, I think I can zoom and make it big. Look at that. Fills up the screen. Go to next one. Look at it. They're all like works of art. Look at this one right there. This is for somebody's birthday, I can tell.
Yeah.
My goodness. When you look at them, it all just looks pretty, one big pretty mass. But I look at the little squares. You don't go buy them from somewhere. Somebody's cutting these things to make them fit. And I need to go find one of my favorites. Let me get out of here. This one. I looked at it and stared at it that day. Right here. So you're seeing all of this. Look at it. Look at the flowers. Just a burst of just brightness and happiness out there. Can you see what I'm sharing, Belle?
Yes, I can.
Just walk us through this one, for example. Let's just hear it.
Yeah, so this one, I call it my burst of spring.
Okay, see, I used the right terms.
Yes, you did. Yes, and like you rightly said, I have a story behind every cake. So this one was for a little girl who just loves life. So I thought, what more to celebrate her than to have a burst of color, you know? So when everyone comes in the room is as bright as the young girl. And it was just the beginning of spring. So I picked out the colors that will really pop. So you have purples, you have reds, you have pinks, you have yellows, and then of course green leaves, just to celebrate life, because spring is also the beginning of new things, you know. You love tulips. Yes, you love tulips, and I'm sure you can relate as well, because tulips just bring that burst of color to announce spring, the arrival of spring, and the arrival of something beautiful, making the way for summer in the next few months. No, this is
look, I look at these things and you tell a story all the time, but it's not only cakes you do, because this is certainly not a cake right here in front of us.
No, I also do cookery, and I do health-based cooking, but rooted in our African traditions, because I find out that we don't have lots of recipes recorded, and our grandmothers are a testament to how healthy they ate and how well, and how well they could also cook. So I use traditional recipes but modernize them. So in this one, I used sweet potato as toast instead of bread.
So this isn't a slice of bread right here.
No, it's a slice of sweet potato that was toasted in a toaster, like you would toast bread.
That's why I thought it was bread. I'm like, what is she talking about? Traditional grandmother. I'm looking at a big old bran bread, wheat bread sandwich. I didn't realize that was sweet potato. Oh my goodness.
Yes. So because you know that our grandmothers would eat a proper meal for breakfast.
Right.
So that they could go to work. And when they came back at 3 o'clock, they had something lighter. But the breakfast was their main meal. And they used to eat leftovers if they were not very wealthy. Or if they had people who could cook, they'll cook them something. But it always used to be a full meal. So those are things that we would eat. So there's avocado. I put some spinach leaves on there.
I see.
And there's I use mackerel as well, which is a very popular fish in our tradition. Some people would use sardine, but you can just imagine somebody having sardine stew with sweet potato for breakfast.
Right. That sardine stew sometimes we call it like geisha. You know the one they used to make in the can.
Exactly. Yeah, or you have somebody having avocado, which we call bush butter. With plantain. So it's just taking those same concepts but modernizing them so that our traditions are not lost, but they can be scalable so that anybody else can relate to them.
I see it. And you can present it in a way which works for any kind of palette. Because you see, I've gotten the idea that if you're going to put something and decorate it like this, then it needs to be some quote unquote Oyibo thing.
No.
But you can take that one thing. This is it looking right here, like wonderful. Make it aesthetically fantastic to look at to start with. Make you want to really order it in a restaurant. This is fantastic what you do. My goodness, look at that. And the thing looks so well, because as they say, the display, the look of something too is part of the whole deal. The presentation is part of the whole deal. Make it look like something that you would want to eat. So I see them there. I see this is egg right here, egg and egg yolk.
Yes.
Right,
so that's a soft-boiled egg,
Correct. Avocado there and the spinach there, and what I thought was, and now I can see that I can see the peel of the sweet potato, and I can tell that's not bread, like I thought before. Look at this. This is clearly a birthday cake for somebody who's 2.
Yes. So that was a princess cake. Then again, we see you have colors of pink and red, which are tones, and this one just shows you that as children grow, they change. You know, they have their characters beginning to develop. So they could be one thing and you think, well, I'm getting to know my child, and then she does something really different. And you think, okay, this human being that I thought. So, you know, they're constantly giving you spurts of interesting things to digest, which goes back, you remember in the Bible, Mary used to always keep things in her heart about Jesus.
The word was to ponder them. Wow.
So the stripes there just show you how kids change as they grow. You know, sometimes
that's the
it's big
changes.
Behind. Sometimes it's small changes. You know, so they just become beautiful.
Right. You see, I looked at it and it was pretty, and so if those of you who are on Facebook, if you go to her Facebook page, which is that Facebook page public? Will people be able to see it? Or do you have a public one?
Anyone can see the
anyone
Facebook
can see
page.
this. So you can go there. It's Genevieve. Let me. I hope you can see it at the top there. Genevieve Belle, but it's spelled Belle Ntuba, Ntuba. I need to do that because we have lots of our members, audience, and viewers who are not necessarily Cameroonian and may not know how to spell the name. That's why I'm doing that. That's why I'm spelling it all out. So, so if somebody wants to contact you, because I'm going to come back to all of this whole stuff, but now people have looked at all of this stuff and see all this yummy stuff and say, I think I'd like that. I went ahead and made a call here for something I wanted to just do for display sake, but I don't think you'd be able to do shipping out here. But if somebody wanted somebody out in the UK, or can you, by the way, let me not just assume, could you?
Well, anyone can do anything. So we can ship to the US. We will use something like DHL. So it's something that we'll discuss with some.
That's good to know, because I was sitting down there just saying, okay, somebody in the UK, what do they do? Because they're going to see this looking so wonderful there and say, okay, how can I get there? How? So for Facebook, they can go to the Facebook page. Is there?
So
And it's your contact, you have like your phone information there too, and they can message you.
The best way to contact me is through Messenger. So if you just
Messenger
click and message me, I check all my messages all the time. So if you send me a Messenger message, I will be able to contact you, and then we'll move to WhatsApp.
From there. I was able to do it. I was able to do it from here.
Exactly.
Was made. Yes, and I now, because Mantina is here, I have my own, the piece down there that's going to be taken a picture of. It's sitting there in the fridge, waiting to be ceremoniously unveiled. The little piece that I have here with me. Thank you so much for doing that.
Welcome.
Yes.
So now you can see why you kept asking me, do you have a picture of the cake that you took to Mercy? And I said, yeah, I do, but you'll see it later. It was because I knew if I sent you the picture and the top was missing, you'd be like, okay, what happened to the top? Yes. So as soon as my sister Martina said she was coming, I said, oh, we're going to surprise Sister EGBE.
It was the biggest surprise ever with the topper also here. So I'm planning this coming week to actually make a whole photo op thing and make a big hoopla about it this coming week. And of course, those pictures are going to be out again. But you know what I noticed once you came on to the show, I looked at that outfit you're wearing and I said, I know that, I recognize it. And now so we're delving into a different part of, because people are saying you're doing this and thinking, okay, that's impressive, that's great. Maybe this is just her big sister praising her and all the things we see, the thing aesthetically. It's not just us who've taken note of what it is that she does. So I'm going to go ahead and show you and share my screen again. If I can find another set of pictures, it would be this one, I believe, right here. There you go. Am I sharing?
Yes, you are. You are.
There you go. So it says there, that's you in the same top you're wearing, the same headgear you're wearing. And so just you walk us through. It says right here on this apron you're wearing, it says MKR UK. Just what's going on?
So in 2017, I had the wonderful opportunity with my very good friend there called Tosin Dayo Oyekole to enter a cookery competition called My Kitchen Rules UK. So we're in the 3rd season of the show, and we were semi-finalists, showcasing African food, again, plated in a very modern way. And then we use, like for our desserts, we used things that we would sell like foulerie. We use the concept of foulerie, which is a well-known drink all across Central and West Africa. It's called Zobo, Bissap in different parts of the continent.
Depending on what country, yes.
Yes, and it's made from hibiscus and pineapple. So for example, we made a hibiscus and pineapple cake, which was from scratch. We invented that, and presented it on the show. So it was an amazing experience. Yes,
I can imagine. Of course, I was following it here and showing the pictures. This is actually, I just froze this image right here. This is actually part of the whole recording. I just hit the button here and let us see how much more. Actually, it's not even a long thing. Let me just go for the fun of it. Let's also see what it is that you're talking about. I'm going to start from the beginning here.
The ultimate contest for amateur cooks returns. This is surreal. With new celebrity chef judges Rachel Allen and Vin Purnell. You're going to be nervous. I'm nervous. Teams from across the UK try to win points. It's going to be amazing. Stop eating it. By serving restaurant standard meals in their own homes. The flavors were spot on. It was a really interesting black food. Who will have the skills to make it through to the final heats? You will be leaving the competition tonight. Impress the special guest judges. I would pay good money to eat that food. And win the hottest prize in cooking. It's becoming more like a party atmosphere than competing for £10,000. The new series of My Kitchen Rules UK starts Monday at 4 on Channel 4.
Awesome. Of course, we're not talking about this Monday, right there. This was back in 2017. This was back in 2017.
And they've continued to rerun it. So I know last year it was on again. So for the last 2 years, it's been on. I don't know whether it's been on this year. If it is, I'll let the audience know so people can catch up. But I just want to take this opportunity because you celebrated us, but the Sekarettes all across the world were so behind our backs. It was amazing.
Trust me.
We had such an amazing support from Sekaret. So thank you guys once again, because without you, you know, it's quite it's a very exciting experience, but then again, it's daunting, you know, because you want to do so well. You have people who are spurring you on, so that adds a little bit of pressure. And then you just want to cook. You just want to cook the best that you can. And then we met, you know, the creme de la creme of the celebrity chefs across the UK. So these were Michelin star holders where we were able to glean from them, ask questions, mentored by them. So you were in a space where things were done at such top-notch level. You really had to come with your A game. Yeah, and we did very well.
No, you represented us very well.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing we're looking to do, because everybody has seen the I would say the Western version of cooking. Most of the chef shows that we see are doing the Western form of cooking. It was a good thing to see some of our own things brought out there too, and lifted to a certain level, which is competitive, believe it or not. Because everything has its area. You can say you're doing a totally African cooking show, that's fine. We take out the actual, bring out the eru, the whole thing is going on there. That's fine for that context. But we can all agree that if you're looking at this level of a contest like this, it really wouldn't do to do just that. It really wouldn't quite fit. So what you did was take it to a level, as you said, modernize it well enough where the things are authentic African things out there, but they've been put in a way where they stand to compete.
Yeah.
Toe to toe, head to head, shoulder to shoulder, whatever part of the body we're going to use. What the rest of the things do, where you can come and say it's been presented there. A judge can taste it and say, this is good. So we always appreciate that, because if not, our things are going to just die off. Because you know how we haven't done. Sometimes my daughter here says, okay, teach me how to make this thing. And I'm sitting there saying, you can only watch me to do it, because I don't know. Which is like, how many teaspoons of this go? I'm like, I don't know. I just put the oil there. I just know that this is enough oil in this thing. And then just put certain onions. So the whole thing of putting measurements, attaching measurements to things and doing recipes of things, it's not easy for the average African person. And so whereas we have modern kids these days who, that's how they function. You can't just tell them this. Like she says, when I say, watch this pot for me, I need to go to the shower. She just says, how many minutes? And starts to pick up her phone, the timer, to time the thing. And I'm going, how many minutes should I really tell her to do? Because I will go by the smell that Miondo's cooked. I go by the smell, look and see. I go by how much water's left in the thing, meaning by now it should be good. So I'm trying to say, what kind of number can I give her? Like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I really don't know, because I'd be in the kitchen there walking around and just know it's good. Stick something in it, it falls right off the thing, means it's
ready.
And they don't function like that. So I really admire people like you who have taken it to a way where it is, that's the way forward for our cookery.
Yes.
For our cooking, for our things. If you think you're going to really sit down there and tell the kid, you'll just know that the consistency, the way you're touching the thing, it means that it is good. You're going to have to tell them minutes, the way it goes in the recipe thing. And that's what we need now. We're not saying nobody should use their mortar and pepper stone and still do things by ear, by instinct, by how would I call it? You just know it, thing. But we are going to have to do things like what you're doing for it to push it on to the next generation somewhat.
Yeah,
even if you keep the authentic, which I don't know which of our children down the road out here is really going to buy a mortar and be doing all of that.
They will, because in other ethnicities, for example, in the Mexican, when you look at them, they're going back to pepper stone. I was so shocked when I was talking to a friend and she said, no, we have pepper stone. And they're buying them. You go to Amazon now, you can buy them. Yes.
True, I would say, but I don't know whether the average person, you see, you have to want to go out to actually get to do that. We're already having the fast food chain, overtaking things for that same reason, the time to sit and do it. I'm sitting here now, I can tell you, I don't know the last time actually when I bought a coconut, broke it, took out the actual thing from there, got out my grater. I have one grater, I bought it from the old-fashioned thing where they took a gong out, and go great. And how it's like the little remaining bits of the coconut thing to put in drinking gari and just be happy. I know all of that, and it's like, oh, I don't know the time I'm going to have So I go to the store and buy the Goya brand coconut milk and come and use it
and put it
rice.
in.
So I'm saying it's true that people are doing those things and those ethnic things, and it actually gives us pleasure. But I'm just saying, realistically, it may not quite work that way for the average person, which is why it's good to have that alternative. Just like you said before, where you have the choice now of doing it by hand because you were trained that way. Then you can do your mixer.
Yeah, with them. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the two will have to go side by side, but I just have to admit, we are going to have to push what you're doing, this style of doing things, a little bit more for it to continue. On top of which they are marrying out there, families are spreading, the traditions are going. So people are having to blend some things, do this thing, maybe not with the traditional thing that you used to have it with before. We are now having our children eating strange combinations.
I know, right?
They just don't like Gary in particular. So, but they like the Eru or they like the Ndule. So there you go. Mommy, I'm just going to have my Ndule with rice. I'm going, wow. They are not doing the bobolo, but at least I'm being thankful that one thing is still carrying over, even if they're not going to do the bobolo, then at least they're going to, so we just, it's a modern world that is shifting and changing, and we do want to keep our authentic things, but modernizing them seems to be something that we're going to have to do. Tweaking them seems to be what we're going to have to do.
Yeah.
So now we're going to actually switch gears a little bit and talk about this whole mercy, this mercy thing that we had going on. If anybody watched the show when I did the Sika Pride 10th anniversary thing, what we're going to do with that cake, like she has already mentioned, was take it, kind of donate it to charity, kind of. So tell us the story. When I say mercy, what are we talking about?
So Mercy Ministries is a home in the United Kingdom, not far from where I live. It's in Oxenhope, which is 30 minutes away. So when you called and said you wanted to donate it, they just came to mind because I thought it was similar to what we've experienced by going to Seka, where, you know, young ladies and young missionaries came to Cameroon, opened a school to train young girls. So they do the same in Mercy Ministries. They train young girls who have had a difficult life under different circumstances, teach them the word of God so that they can bloom again and go back into the world and become useful as God intended them to do. So when I called them at first, they were quite shocked that somebody would call them out of the blue to donate a cake. So we had a visit. I was fortunate enough to speak to the girls, tell them about what you do. You know, so they were very, very blessed. And just as I was about to leave, one of the girls said they really enjoyed the cake. Could I come and teach them how to bake? So that sort of just blew my mind because, you know, when you have a gift and a talent, it's not only about making money, but it's about giving back. I already teach friends' children over the summer. So they have 6 weeks holiday. So I take them, bring them here, and then they learn how to bake alongside me. And then they go home at the end of the day. So they come for a few days over the summer and do that. But I just wanted to be able to expand what I do to other people. So when we finish talking about Mercy, I'll tell you about a little project I did during the pandemic as well.
Okay.
So I thought, wow. So when I came back and I told you, we were so blown away about how God orchestrates things so that you can just be of use, hands and feet to other people just by talking about the cake. Because like you mentioned, I always have a story to a cake. And those stories don't just come to me because I want to fill space on Facebook, but I pray about it. I think them through. I can tell you exactly where I get some of the stories about the person that I'm making a cake for. And sometimes you just change your whole dynamic about something that you're doing.
Right.
So when I was going to Mercy, I just said, God, you know why we picked this.
Right.
You know where we're going with this. And you know what you'd already planned. So all I'm going to do is be obedient.
Be an instrument.
Exactly. So on Wednesday, the 20th, I had the opportunity to go there. And we had a class. So I'm sure what I'll do is send the pictures, then you can fill them in this space to see the girls at
work.
At work. Obviously, for data protection, we can't show their faces or their voices, but you just see the different stages of what they did. And they were blown away. But what really ministered back to me is when they told me, Genevieve, we've been praying for you. And I thought, what? Not in a million years had I even thought about that. I had prayed about going there, prayed for the girls, but you don't think that they will be praying for you, or something like that will be happening. And they actually also made a whole collage for me to take away. And sitting there, one of the girls shared her dreams of opening a bakery. So we sat there and I told her my whole experience, my journey, what she needed to start doing, how I started when I came to England by just volunteering. I used to bake for a church outreach, and I just used to walk there, drop a cake every Saturday morning. And that's how I kept practicing.
Right.
So I shared that, and I just thought, wow, God, you use every piece of our lives. I used to remember, Sister EGBE, how that distance was 45 minutes. Like I said, I graduated from college. It was a difficult time. I didn't have any money. But I said to myself, I'm not going to stop that from me doing something with my life while waiting for a job, which I eventually got a few months later. I'll just go, I'll do something that I love. And when they said, can anybody bring some baked goods for this outreach, I put up my hand. And I just volunteered with whatever I had. Making, we used to make banana cake in Cameroon.
Right.
It's one of our staples, very cheap to make. So I'll make that. I made all the all-based cakes that I could, because I had loads of that stuff at home. And I'll just go and drop. But then to see that story has now inspired somebody else to do the same, because at the end of the conversation, she said, my cafe at church needs cakes. I'm going to volunteer to do that. I thought life just comes full circle.
It does. It just takes really people, like you said. You see, we all come here with a purpose. That's the thing. That's why I wanted to even have you on this show. Okay, the cakes are beautiful, no doubt. You yourself are just an amazing person, no doubt. But this is supposed to be to help to inspire somebody to see how, when you go do things, which this is a skill that God has given you, that's for sure. Some of us, as till today, our baking is touch and go. One day it comes out. I cannot tell anybody I'm going to bake a cake, because I don't know how that cake is going to come out. If it comes out nice, and I'm like, okay, here you go. If it doesn't. So people do have gifts, talents, clearly, and then yours, you've honed it over the years, worked on it until it has come out to what it is today. You are clearly comfortable in that. I'll call it, this is not just baking for you, this is a ministry for you.
Yes, definitely.
Very obviously. And I'm hoping that people who are listening, some little girl listening, some middle-aged girl listening, some seasoned woman listening, can understand that her passion can become something like what you are doing there. That will not only bring you financial value, but spiritual fulfillment. And that's what I see lacking in most people. Like if you see somebody who's doing baking like you, or who's catering, they really are about the mathematics, the money, what's coming in. And sometimes you forget to enjoy that. There's somebody who just loves cooking. Who you see somebody who loves it, music is playing there, they're dancing and they're singing as they're doing it. They're actually happy to be there in that kitchen. You and your cooking spoon. The cooking spoon is actually a whole microphone that you sing into from time to time as you stir whatever it is that you're stirring. You see what they're doing with the joy of it. Exactly. Different from, so I'm hoping that somebody who's listening there, for somebody else, it may be crochet, we are doing that. What the domestic science aspect of us can be put to great, wonderful use that will benefit the person, because now they're making a penny or two out of it, but that is going to bless somebody, because those things are very direct. If you are a robotics engineer, I'm sorry, there's not really, at the end of your work in your office, I don't know what thing you can carry from there, a cable or two to go give somebody. But a cake, you carry and give somebody. A little sweater that you knitted, a little newborn baby can, the mother can have that to put on their baby. So you're blessed to have a concrete thing. Your passion happens to be a concrete thing. that can bless not just you, but other people. And to emphasize what you were saying, and to just insist, I'm trying to insist on that, on this aspect of it. When I said, can you bake this cake? It wasn't just, okay, go do it. I went through an interview. You interviewed me. You did the whole FBI thing.
Yeah.
What kind of colors do you like? What kind of flower is your favorite flower? What are you trying to do with this whole thing? So that the cake, and then it came out. I didn't know what to expect, because I'm like, okay, I told her, I even showed you the logo, the musical logo. I said, these are the colors. And then bam, that's what came out, which is so what if I had been blessed to have the same imagination and creativity that you have, I would have wanted to see. And I felt really gratified and happy, because it's my thing. And you asked me, I participated kind of in the thing, in the what, I don't even know the terms to use, in the
production,
or maybe even the conception of it. And then I can sit back and leave it. She's going to produce wonders out of it. After all, she asked me, I told her, I don't have to fret. When we were doing the rehearsal of the thing, you were there in the kitchen turning and stirring all of these things. And then the day comes and like, wow, look at this piece of this marvelous thing. So I'm saying that so people can know that if you get her to do something for you, it will not be your average thingy. It will be something that is well thought out. And I'm saying, go to her page on Facebook, those of you that are on there. If you're not on there, get your daughter, son, or cousin, niece who's on there to go and look at that Genevieve Belle Ntuba page and see how each time she posts a thing, there is a story that goes back into Africa's history, something that goes around. So it's a creation process like you have for the average artist. So kudos to you. You're doing a fantastic job.
Let me just add something. I think we don't want to take away that when God gives us a gift, he does say that a worker is due a wage. So the money aspect will always come. But what anyone who's listening to me, I want you to take away that when you trust God to steward that gift that he's given you, he will do immeasurably more. Don't run after money, because that's not the essence of it. And that's in any area, whichever form. You said it many times. You're a teacher. You teach the children with the goal in mind. So it is the same thing that I'm applying, which is to make a cake for somebody in order to participate in the occasion that they have.
Right.
So that I remove myself and the person is put in that situation as if they were the creator of the cake and not me. I'm just facilitating their dream to come true. And when you do that, God is pleased and he brings. So the flip side of that is you're not going to make a cake for everybody, because it's not everybody as well who's going to be a perfect fit for you. But if you're determined that it's only money that you're going to look for, you're going to miss it, because money will drive you to maybe sell yourself short, because you're thinking about, well, I want to make maybe £5,000 on a cake.
Right.
And you're talking to the person, nothing's coming out. You can't find out where they're going, what they want, but you're just insisting. So I said, no, take a step back. I've had to say no to people, to say, I'm really sorry, we can't work together. Not because nobody's a bad person. I'm not a bad person, they're not. But we don't gel, and you're not happy with what you're going to produce. You know, like you said, when I'm cooking here, I'm dancing, the music is on, I'm having a good time. I talk to a customer and I say, what do you want? Sometimes they say, well, you go do what you want. And I said, no, it's not my party. I can't do what I want. I'll send them things. If not, I sketch something. Do you want like this? But there's that joy.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that joy that can't be bought when you are grounded and you are submitted to serving people. The money will come. Like now I'm experiencing work in a way that I never did before. So it's a process as well. when you're growing. Many years ago, I wasn't at this stage, but now that I am, I can tell people, please don't make the same mistakes that I made. Do it this way. It's much better, much faster, and you get so much out of it. And then grow. But be yourself, you know, so that when somebody, so when somebody sees your cakes, they know that's a Belle Ntuba cake.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
I'm not carbon copy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So wait for the process. Go through it. Enjoy it. The beginnings, like I've said many times, I wasn't paid. I wasn't paid. I was making for friends and family. Right. They'll say, oh no, here's money, ingredients, you pay. If the ingredients are not enough, you don't want quarrels with family members.
You just go
do.
Yeah, you're talking about the whole process. Yes,
it's the whole process. Or they're like, you want me to pay? And you're like, of course you have to pay. No, they say, but we are sisters, or we are brothers, or you know, we are cousins. I should not be paying you. So it's a whole process.
You should be, which is the thing. But it's a whole, like you say. Yeah. And it just the last bits of things that you said there, I've sat here, I think I've nodded my head, and I think I'm going to actually have a neck sprain with just nodding. That is how it works. Unfortunately for many people, and the way our world is structured these days, especially in this US of A, it's show me the money, mula. That is it, period. Nobody is saying you should sell yourself short like she just said. No, your craft should be able to feed you. Paul was making his tent. He was a tent maker. To make some money to live and survive, yes. Jesus was a carpenter. Yes, they all had crafts. The disciples, a whole ton of fishermen, they worked, and they were not giving out their fish for free. I don't think Jesus was saying, come, I will make a chair for you. And he's like, don't pay me.
Definitely not.
don't pay me, please. That's just fine. So even there, yes. But you do your things with the kind of way, first of all, you're led, and because we can tell the difference often. I keep saying that. You can look at two people doing the same craft, the same profession, and you go for one, not because there's just something about them, the way they do their job. Even when you go to a store and see one cash register person versus the other doing the job, two janitors who are sweeping a school, in a school, they're cleaning the toilets. You hear as you're walking by, you hear one that's humming as they are doing their work. Then the other one, you can hear the bum. They're just mad and angry at what they're doing. Paycheck people, I know some of us are sounding old-fashioned now, and I don't know what, like, oh yeah, right, give me the money, show me the money. That's what Hollywood shows you, TV showing you the people who are making all the money and everything. But strangely, they're also the ones who are taking their lives. You wake up next morning, so has overdosed on something. So this person has, they have had this somebody got shot themselves. See, it's not sometimes it is this whole being grounded, like you say, aware of the purpose for which we are put here, know that you're fulfilling it, and that there is this human thing touch. There's a word that is kind of a French word that comes into that we use in our pidgin things. It's called force V.
Yes.
You can say force V person, push, loud, bang, bang, bing, boom. And most of the time that just spark, there's big spark, and then
slowly
dies out again. But most of the people that you see, you will see how many years, from 8 years old baking these cakes, that's the cake still behind you that they are baking. Now at how many years old are thereafter? Somebody has a gift in this, you see them just grow, feeling fulfilled. And that's the thing, people are missing the fulfillment part, the gratification part, the service part of what they do for a living, what they do as a talent. And that's the thing. And so you see them there, sometimes the money has come in, but it's still just scratch. There's no that satisfaction, that happiness. You go to bed at night and there's a smile that's not wanting to leave your face, because you know you're doing what you were created to do and are blossoming in it. And when people actually see it, and it shows, we see a creation that somebody has made in those cakes, that somebody took the time, as opposed to just I copied it off a book somewhere that was somebody else's conception that I just came and did here and put anything haphazardly. So I was going to go to that point to ask you, what would you tell somebody? You already did it. So
but you mentioned something that's also very important. It's not even about the job, because you said a janitor, and I think it's the same in anything. When I was at university, I was a janitor, working while going to school to support myself.
Right.
But I made sure that my classroom was the best.
Exactly.
Cleaned the best, you know. I had a lab, the computer lab, and I made sure it was sparkling. And the janitors who had been there, and this, I'll never forget this woman called Sue. She'd been there for many years as a janitor, but she'd worked her way up and was a supervisor by the time I joined. And she could go on holiday to the most exotic places just because she'd done this job so well, she'd achieved so much. So it's not, there's no job where you can't represent God and you can't shine and you can't become something. There are people who started as janitors and now are owners of cleaning companies, employing people because they're so good. So I believe that God has graced us all with gifts and talents that we each can use to demonstrate his love on earth and be his hands and feet. So let's not, if, you know, as you talked about this generation, let's not look down on anything because all things come from God. And all we have to do is do it to the best of our ability.
That's all he asks.
And he will do the rest.
That's all he requires. He says, come here, come here, come here. I'm talking, I can sit here, I'm just trying to say amen, 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 because I see what you're, my life is pretty much what you are talking about right there.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah.
The gift and put it in his hands. Oh, he'll take you places with the thing. Show you what it is that you should do with stuff. I'm talking about somebody who's sitting here. What am I doing here even? Trying to do a radio show. That's not what I saw in my life doing. And even though my dad did, I was like, who? But here you come, and I'm at ease. I can sit here and talk for the next 8 hours just going. And doing it. Look, I can tell you this when it comes, when I flip the coin and talk about what I'm doing here now. If I started a show that was called the Kongosa Show and said all kinds of little vulgar things on there, I tell you, I would have 1 trillion followers before the sun sets.
Can say that again.
That's what we'll naturally gravitate towards.
Yeah.
But it takes a person who knows, like what you're doing, who says that bim bam boom boom noise thing. It's not what I was put here to do. When you sell your soul, sell your values, sell who you are to try to be this thing. And most of us do that because we don't have the patience. We don't want to listen to God's bidding. We're trying to get there fast. What we see is people who, and the funny thing is that we forget that small, the people who are at the top there and really got there, they went through a journey to get there. Yes. You see, we are quoting stories from the Bible years ago. Who have you seen in that Bible who just was dropped and was the big person from day one? David, the little rubber gun boy there, thing, even when he was anointed already, that they brought him and anointed there, how long did it take him from that anointing thing to actually get onto the throne? Saul showed him pepper, persecuted that fellow before I ever got to there.
Exactly.
Just like they give you the dream, sharp when there's a little young boy there with his coat of many colors. Then where is the dream, ma'am? You end up in the pit there. Pit to Potiphar's house, suffer. Jail or prison before you ever go to that prime minister thing. Everybody else, Moses, even though he was born the prince of Egypt, then you commit this crime he committed there, he killed somebody. Off you go and start now watching your father-in-law's sheep, going there in the wilderness before burning bush and all of that stuff, and now we're singing their praises. All of them went through the stage before they got to where they actually got to and entered into their own. And all of that stuff, God, it was the process that God needed to use them, mold them, fix them, teach them, so that when the time comes, there's that statement in the Bible, in the fullness of time, when that time has come, and such a time as this thing has happened, then you see, the right doors are opening, the wrong ones are shutting.
Yeah.
You get to meet somebody, get to talk to somebody. You're like, I knew this person all along. Why did their name just come to my mind all of a sudden now? And things are just happening. You got on this show, what have you out there? You've gone out to this mercy place. Look, the day will come. I keep saying it and I believe it. The day will come when we all get to heaven, as they say, where people are going to walk up to you who you don't know, don't recognize, who will say, see, let me tell you how this whole thing happened. One day I watched what you on the show, this sort of thing. That's how I was inspired to start my own thing. I was one of those who was in Mercy Ministries the day you came and spoke. Because I have interviewed people here, like for example, Dr. MBIWAN, who is an aerospace engineer. What she said was, in Form 5 there in Sika in Limbe, somebody came and did a career thing, career whatever it is. She went to attend the thing, and he mentioned the career, aerospace engineering. Bing, light bulb went on. That's what she's doing today. But just look at that. That day she may have not felt well or gone there and just dozed through the thing, like some of us used to just be tired, just dozed through the thing. But that person went, opened his mouth, spoke. Look at what we have today out here. So all of these things that they say, labor not for wealth or fame. It doesn't mean you should not have the wealth or the fame, but that should not be your primary focus. I'm going to this thing and you're looking, okay, kaching, how much money is entered into my account today, and blah, 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 and you're turning down things which you feel will not be the real thing. Just that's in other words, you're driven only by that. That's the difference between what you're saying. It's not refreshing to hear, because that line of thinking more and more is like, you're not going to make it anywhere with this. No, cut corners here, do this there, cheat here, cut this, do that here. And in the end, most of the time, either you don't make it to where you were trying to get there, or you do make it and you don't last. The staying power is not there.
Exactly.
So yeah, hopping. Today we see you doing this one. Tomorrow, this other thing. The next day, none of them is really yielding any real consistent fruit. And that's not what we are asked to be. We're supposed to be good stewards of the talents that God has given us. I see you have some things sitting in front of you right there. I see some eggs. I see some,
just the tricks of the trade, you know. So it's just, this is just turning something that God gives us. We have eggs, we have butter, sugar, and flour into artwork that somebody can eat, you know. And the good thing about baking is you can turn any of these things into so many different things. You can make cupcakes, you can make cakes, you can make gâteaux. Like we've got a French experience, you know, from our boulangeries. There's patisserie, which is a whole different world, you know. You remember boulangerie Calafatas, you know, after church, or boulangerie Paul. So it's just using, and that goes again to say that you don't have to start big. Like I was saying earlier, I started and I didn't have much. So it's just learning that if you give your widow's mite, and I think sometimes when we read stories in the Bible, you're really just literally thinking, well, widow's mite, 2 coins wrapped together. But the widow's mite can be just a little thing you have.
That's it. It's
that
a parable.
It's a that you turn into something over time. You know, so if you just have oil, like I mentioned, in Cameroon, we have bananas readily available. If you just learn how to make a banana cake and bless somebody, that person, you like that cake. Exactly. Somebody else comes to visit, they ask, who made that banana cake?
Thank you.
Because you made it with all your heart. Then somebody else, can you come and make a banana cake for me? And that's how it starts. You just go. And you were not expecting any money. You were not expecting to make anything. You were just being a blessing to somebody. And that's what we're trying to say here. Like you rightly said, your life has been that Sika Pride is 10 years, but it's been 10 years of sweat, crying, all sorts,
wondering, what is it? You said that you're doing something like that, even pro bono. Somebody's actually scolding you, like I said, I sent you message and something. I've not seen it, you publish the thing. I said, have you realized that the person's not asking that I actually have a real other job that pays my bills and stuff. And I remember that, as I was saying, you have 1 like, yeah, somebody likes this thing, 2 likes. Now, I think the thing is 35,000 followers. I'm like, what, these people even?
I know.
You know, but it has taken that process. And boy, have I learned a ton.
A lot.
It has nothing to do with any penny that you're making. But you see somebody who says, thank you for posting this about my dad, that my dad passed away like lately.
Yeah.
And they came, and I'm sitting there sending a screenshot because the person who said, the latest person, Leila for Kumla, who said, put an obituary about my dad's passing, she's not even on Facebook. So I went, somebody has written a whole tribute. This is my classmate when we entered CPC Bali in 1960, graduated in 19, whatever it is. Oh, I'm touched to see you go. What a heartfelt thing. I had this morning, the first thing I did when I woke up, when I saw that was like, after a tear or two rolled down, was screenshot and send it back to Leila and say, see, somebody's, some person, they cry at Papa, whom she did not even quite know. And even in her grief now, it warms her heart. Yeah. Trust me, I don't need a penny for that kind of a thing. I know what it means to lose a dad suddenly, like she did. Woke up one morning, my dad had passed away in his sleep. Hers, I think they believe it's a massive heart attack he had. So the heart attack, sorry, that may have happened. So like God like that. So I'm able to tell her, Mama, I feel your pain. And I tell her, that's the thing. I feel your pain. She says, yes, his picture, put it out there. I sit here and I'm trying to put the thing and place the picture, crop it nicely and put it there. It's a person I don't believe I ever met the man. But if you do, look here, there is nothing you can pay me to do that. There's no anything. Then she is consoled in her grief. It has given people who know the man, rest in peace, Daddy. May God grant you this thing. Just goodwill, good heart flowing. I sit there, I'm like, what does it matter whoever is scolding what and doing what? The few people that don't get the whole point, ask if you don't get it. I so get it. God who says do it, gets it. End of story. End of story. If you look at it that way, I tell you, like I see that you bake your things. We were watching you that day in the kitchen, that rehearsal thing. I cannot forget that image of somebody just sitting there doing what they like. And we're saying this of all to understand. It has, for me, it's a website radio thing. For her, it's a bakery kind of thing. For you, it may be that whatever kind of thing it is that you do and do so well. Unfortunately, we are conditioned. Went to school, do your big book, you go find a big old office and sit there and just lord it over a bunch of people. That may be what you're cut out for too, because of leadership skills. That's good.
Yes, definitely.
We're saying not everybody though is cut out for that. And you can be hitting your head against the stone, trying to do this in the box, putting yourself in this box thing, whereas you would blossom and flourish doing something else. And for some of us, we still need our day job for the time being, that fuels and sponsors the other thing that we do, our passion. But as time goes on, retirement will come for me pretty soon enough. This is what I'll sit down and continue doing to my heart's content by the grace of God.
Yeah.
You see, so some of those things which sometimes the passion that you do is something that can tend to follow you, that you can keep doing till God says your hands just don't work no more and whatever it is. Which is different from the job that you are doing, which has a retirement age.
Yes.
Which when 60 comes for some, 30 years of service for others, 65 for some, they will give you a nice old plaque.
And or a watch.
We thank you for your service, and off you go to the sunset. Next thing we know, you've had a stroke. You're just, your self-worth has gone away, and there's nothing you're doing that is your passion. That can keep going long after the actual pay check of what you were doing in an office is gone. So I'm saying it, we're sitting there, you're much younger than I am. I'm sitting there in late 50s pushing. It's time to start thinking, what are you going to do beyond the thing that you do now? If it is not something that is a passion, craft-like thing. And for those who even doing the office thing, not to discount them, they go on and become mentors. Become consultants, become so that you can use what it is that you have learned still thereafter, and be of use to somebody, and not have anything. And
you've got many shows of people who have done that. So viewers, go see her her YouTube channel, and just drink in the wealth of information that's available there, because no one is redundant. As Christians, there's one thing we should remember: there's no retirement. God expects us to be fruitful in all seasons of our lives. So if you finished what you call work according to the world, He has things for you to do. You can even pick up things in the later age, and you do them so well. Look at KFC. He started in his 60s. He was closer to 70 when he said, I'm going to sell my 12 herbs and spices chicken, and became a multi-millionaire. And there's so many stories like that.
Like that.
No, so
reforming themselves and even saying, yes, I did this for this number of years, but it's really now that I've come into my own that I feel fulfilled doing this thing. You're very right. I'm glad that's a very interesting point to make. You don't retire from service in whatever it is that you are doing that is touching somebody, affecting somebody positively. You're still being yourself. Even the way you carry yourself. Some people have taught lessons. Patients, nurses and doctors have learned from a patient who's just not the grumbly kind, not the whiny kind. And you're like, wow, what is it about this person that is taking this thing? And then you've ministered to them that way, by even the way you go through things, the way you take things, your attitude, your disposition, all of those things of being useful. When they say that song that says, I'll be a good soldier, I'll die at my post, which means you're in service till he calls you home and says, okay, come on home. Retiring this person, come on home. Then you've done your part and you can feel gratified and go with no regrets or very few regrets. So anything else? Because we are going to talk, we can talk up a storm.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just to end that waiting on the Lord for the big things takes time. You just said it so brilliantly. Read the book of Genesis. You see the stories of Joseph. You see even the story of Jacob. You see the story of, Moses. Any good thing is worth the wait. Start small, keep at it, keep improving yourself. Don't let people discourage you, because eventually you will make it. It's just a matter of time. Don't cut corners, because like Sister EGBE said, if you cut corners, you'll be found out eventually, and you lose all the business that you've garnered. But if you keep at it, people will soon know your worth, and then they will offer to pay you more. They will give you tips. I get tips now, because because doing business of any kind is not easy. Like you rightly said, our orientation is not towards creative people. So when you're doing anything, and I've had friends who have started businesses and people like, you're doing, for example, pepper sauce. I can make pepper sauce at home. But they don't realize that you're not only paying for the talent of the person, but you're trading in time. Yes, you can make pepper sauce, but do you have time to make pepper sauce? So you are paying them for making the pepper sauce so that you can do other things with your life. And I think when we realize that our lives are supposed to be intertwined and intermingled, it becomes easier to see that person for who God has created them to be. So when I say, for example, a cake is 100 pounds, your first should not be 100 pounds after I can buy cake from so and so. No, what makes my cake 100 pounds is the time, the ingredients I use, my electricity, and all that is so that you and your guests can be blessed. So
you yourself not stressed. You and your guests
exactly,
and you yourself not stressed, because you're just
not stressed. Exactly. And I'm giving you time to enjoy, because yes, you can make a cake, but instead of you spending the time to make a cake, you spend quality time with your guests. And I think if we think about it from that perspective, our community will grow better and bigger, because money will start circulating.
Preach.
I pay you for what you do. You pay the other person for what they do. And it just circulates. That's how other communities thrive. So one of the biggest dreams I have is for our community to rise wherever we are, knowing that God put us on earth together to do great things for him. So me being the best baker will not outshine you in any way. Me being who God has called me,
just keep talking.
Yes, will not make you less than. You paying me what I'm worth will even increase you. Because what people forget is when you pay, let's take £100 for a cake, you're going to think, well, I have to make £100. Ideas will come to you. You will think differently. I want good. Therefore, your thought process changes. You become a better person because you want to pay me.
Right.
I now have to make sure that my standards are high there to meet up with your £100. I have to grow. I have to challenge myself to become the £100 cake maker.
Right.
Then the person who is making eggs, I'll tell them I want organic. They have to change their farming processes,
right,
so that they can meet the demands, so that we are thinking of people's health when we're baking, we're thinking about the kind of sugar. So we now start industries all around, and we all rise as a community.
Together. Yes.
Together, with nobody feeling like I'm being taken advantage, I'm being financially abused, nobody's paying me. We're all growing. So you who's maybe office-based, you're excelling, you get your promotion, you can pay me, I grow. The person who is doing the farming, I'm saying, come on, we need better quality, they grow. I can now pay them as well. Then the person who's growing, the flour, the grain, we say we want better quality, they too can grow. And that's how a community changes before. You mentioned something about why do I write a lot about Africa? Because Africa, I'm passionate about seeing Africa develop into the continent I believe God created it to be. And to inspire people.
So blessed with natural resources and all kinds of things.
Exactly.
And they're still struggling back.
Yeah. But the one thing that we've been taught is divide and conquer. Exactly. We've been taught to think that if that person
succeeds,
big,
they're succeeding at my expense.
It will be at my expense. No. Together, if we do it, I'm telling you, in 5 years' time, nobody will recognize us, because when God is in something, there's no man, no man that can stand against that thing. And that's, my closing thought, that we should reconsider how we think about each other and know that we're here interdependent. Exactly. And as we bless one another by doing the best, paying for the best, we will become the best.
I don't want to add anything more to that. There's a lot of reaction I can come up with to say to that, to just agree, but I want that to just be that statement, to just be the closing one, because you have touched on exactly what I believe is holding us back. Not be able to rejoice, recognize, acknowledge, rejoice in the talent that somebody has, and sees it and realize it's not there to stump me. It does not make me less of a person if that person shines. Let them shine. Some of their shine may even rub off on me, inspire me to do my own part of the shining, as opposed to, no, I don't. As I said, I need to, that closing remark was really it. And we've done far more than just baking, talking about cooking, bakery, which is what it is that you do. But at least let me remind people, for now, Facebook Messenger is where you go find her. You would go to, again, it's Genevieve, Belle, which is spelled like Belle in French, B-E-L-L-E, Ntuba, N-T-U-B-A. And you'll find her there. If you are not on Facebook, get any of us that's on there to find to contact with her.
I'm on Instagram.
She's on
so
Instagram,
they can find me on Instagram if you're younger. Yes,
yes, the younger crowd.
Yeah, if you're younger, yes, I'm on Instagram for the youngs. Yes. They like the gram.
They like the gram, yes, and they like the Insta too. The
exactly.
Insta part, like, bam, so you see what you like, the beautiful masterpieces, works of art that she will create along with you. You see that some of them were birthday cakes, some of them were christening ceremonies, some of them were just for anniversaries, like in my case, and that kind of a thing. So contact her. You would be blessed by what she does. You would not just get the thing, the actual item, which is going to be a beautiful cake, but you'll just be blessed by having worked with somebody who is just a blessing to know, a breath of fresh air to know. So we're closing here. Thank you all so much for listening. I have no clue how long we've been talking, and I really quite don't care.
Neither do I.
I really quite don't care. After all, when it gets on YouTube, you can pause, go back and do whatever it is. You come back, YouTube is very good at it. It will help continue the thing you're watching from where you stopped the last time and keep going. So whatever dreams you've got, go for them. Whatever you think God has laid on your heart and give you the talent for, use it. Because not only even that, you should use it for His glory, for your good, for your community's good. But you will, let me just be frank, not to scare anybody, but He intends to have you render account for it.
Yeah.
That's exactly. If you read the parable of the talents, that's what He did. The only person He was unhappy with was the person who did absolutely nothing with their own talent. He gave somebody 10, another person 5. I don't remember those numbers quite well. But they all came and said, when He said, okay, render account, they all came and said, you gave me this is what I did with it. You gave me this is what I did with it. Papa with the one who went and buried the thing on there, I said, I did nothing. That's the only person who was mad at. That didn't do anything with his. So besides knowing that you should do something to better yourself, your community, and give glory to He who gave you that talent, He will ask you, but I gave you a beautiful voice. What did you do with it? I gave you the skill to bake, but that's other people cannot bake, cannot fry a pancake. You could bake. What did you do with it? I gave you the ability to yap, like I'm yapping here. What did you do with it? Call other people names with it, curse people. You talk flippantly and fluently, but what you're doing is a whole rant of issues that are negative, is what you did with the voice He gave you. You will answer for it. So besides that, just that the positive, clean, clear part that we're supposed to be doing, maybe we need to scare you into actually doing what you're
yes, to make sure, yes. Because, just as you're saying, I have this picture, sometimes we forget that God is watching us. So I remember telling a friend, I said, one thing that I like to think sometimes is, if I'm going to do something naughty, and you're thinking, I don't want to do that, is when God peels back the curtain and is looking down at me with the angels, and the angels say, Papa God, look at that child of yours. What is she doing? And then He says, oh, yeah. So I just picture conversations in heaven, like you're speaking, and you stand in awe because God has given you this. Like you said, what excuse will I have?
Right. He said to Moses, he says, I can't go. What can I do? He asked, is it Moses or Aaron? He said, what is that you have in your hand? He says, he says a stick. You see, so we are supposed to ask ourselves, what do we have in our hand? For Moses it was a stick. For you, it is your hands with this. For other people, it's a different thing. Then he says, watch me use it. He was able to throw it down, and the stick became a stick, or grew buds and things. He's just asking each of us to use our own stick that He's given us to do something about it. If not, you're sitting there in your church, they're asking every day, we need somebody, the tech person, to come and do with the sound production. You are there, the IT person, and you want to do the IT thing only when it's your paycheck, which is going to do, and you're not thinking that you can do this for this.
Do it at church,
At church, volunteer it there, or volunteer it in your association, wherever it is that you work, that can do, which that thing that you did there may not be the face of the company. So you're not the person who, when they put the picture, this is who's standing there. But if we're not for you, the photographer, so how will we be doing? This Mr. Zoom man, if you're not for him, how would we be doing this? Exactly. So we're not seeing his face now, Mr. Zoom.
No.
But he is what is that he has done.
Exactly.
He wants to teach classes through the pandemic, do all of the things that we did do, even if we don't see his face or know who the heck he is.
Yeah.
But he's done his part. And
that's his story too, right? Mr. Zoom, I'm sure when he started Zoom, he was like, who's going to ever use this? And then all of a sudden,
the pandemic,
he became so wealthy during the pandemic, because he had put in the hours, the weight, the time.
So he was a ready thing. Had he sat to wait to start doing the research when the pandemic hit, he would not be able to, but he was there when nobody knew his name or cared for the thing much. Prepared, ready. God says, keep going. He's running, he's going. And then, bam, the moment came, and all of us And now even thereafter with the pandemic kind of being under control, even if it's not gone yet, this is, here we are still using it because now we've realized we can use this. All of our families now, we have family meetings, sit there.
It's Zoom.
Yes, you cannot go home soon.
Yeah.
No, you cannot do. It has become a verb. Zoom it. It's a noun,
Exactly.
it's a verb, it's an adjective. It was zoomed on so and so place. You know. So yeah, I think we've reached somebody with some of what we've said.
We have definitely
advice. So
and just like we've been saying, God will do the rest. This will go and God will use it as he sees fit, because we are just
instruments, channels.
And channels. Yes.
Correct.
Thank you so much. I am so wealthy.
My bless.
After this interview, so wealthy.
So am I.
And I hope that you, the listener, will also feel the same. It has been an amazing time. Thank you so much, Sister EGBE. And I hope we'll do number 2 sometime when we have some updates.
We will.
Yes.
And as always, when the comments start coming in for this, I'll be sending them your way.
Yes.
All the best. God bless you. Keep doing what he has put in your heart and soul to do.
I will. Yes.
All right, viewers. All right, listeners. Time to call it quits. We'll see you some other time. God bless you all too. Love you all. Bye for now.
Bye.